So we are the Enseña Chile group. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Enseña Chile, it's a nonprofit education program based in Chile, in Santiago, that is basically the same thing as America's Teach for America program, and it falls under the International Teach for All organization. So our main project is dealing with Enseña Chile's version of learning loops, which learning loops are a feedback system that organizations like Enseña Chile use to continuously be improving their organizations and how they run their programs. So it has 5 main steps, starting with data collection, which Enseña Chile has in the form of surveys to all of their different participants. And then you move on to data analysis and reflection, then on to diffusion, in which you share all of your analysis with everyone involved. And in the diffusion process, you get feedback, which you turn into adjustments, which you turn into action, which you then collect data on. So speaking with our contact, Francisco, and Enseña Chile, what the organization is doing great at right now is getting their data together. They've really nailed down their data collection system through surveys. And they are also really confident in their ability to make changes to the program and make the necessary adjustments. So what we're focusing on is this magic diffusion stage right here, because Enseña Chile, what they're dealing with right now is the harmful effects of just a lack of an institutionalized data sharing system in which all of their different employees and participants just aren't engaging with the data. And what we kind of realized at first, we just didn't understand why this was a problem. Like, just email the data to them. You have it. You have their emails. Like, what's the point? But we realized that it's a lot more about engaging people with the data, making it important to them so that they can give real feedback and in turn improve what they're doing every day. So to make it a little bit trickier is Enseña Chile has 7 different types of learning loops. So they take surveys from all these different 7 groups, and they're all in different calendars. So when Enseña Chile is getting their information from the student surveys is a different time that they're getting information about their annual funding reports. So we needed to create a system and suggestions that would be able to fit the needs of all these different learning loops at different times. This is our contact, Francisco, in the classroom. And so we realized that our problem is this lack of institutionalized data sharing. And so we are addressing the problem in 2 different ways, in 2 different suggestions. The first is to package this information to be as clear and accessible as possible so that people engaging with the data can straight up understand it. And then the second is to find ways through internal communication to engage Enseña Chile employees in this new data.
So one of the main technologies that that's part of our proposal is IBM Watson Analytics, which is essentially going to be the data analysis side. So essentially, IBM Watson is going to help empower Enseña Chile to perform these analytics on their own, so they don't need to contract people from the outside, and they can actually create distributable infographics that share this story that they've been talking about and wanting to use to engage all the moving parts in their organization. And the program is also available on the cloud, so people can use it not just from the main center in Santiago, but all over. This is what the platform looks like. I plugged in an example with bike sharing data. So essentially I was able to ask any question about the data set. The program suggests different questions based on the data you enter, but you can ask pretty much anything. And on the left-hand side, you'll see all the different data visualization recommendations. So here I have like a linear graph, and then in the next slide, it's the same data in a pie chart. And then the slide after that also has a bar graph with the same data. So there's definitely many options, and surely a lot more complicated options for demonstrating the data in a more simplified, attractive way.
And then, so the second half of our problem would then be dispersing the data throughout the organization. And if you're familiar with a map of Chile, it's a very long, tall country. And so getting everyone together in a centralized meeting is very difficult, especially with some of the more rural regions. So we're proposing Click Meeting, which is an online web meeting software. And so rather than explain it to you, I just decided to show you. So this is what one of the web meeting I guess like meetings would look like. So you can have a presenter like on camera showing the different stuff live. And can you also insert images? And so this is again from the sample data. We're working on getting actual Enseña Chile data. So you can insert the images and you can draw on them and like highlight different parts of them in real time, so that all of the attendees can see both the data itself and like anything that the presenters want to show. Or if live he wants to manipulate the data through IBM Watson, you can also share your screen, so we can go to the IBM Watson website and manipulate the data live as well. And then there's also a live chat function. And so if people have questions during the presentation, they don't need to wait until afterwards, and they email and kind of get the communication clogged up. So you can ask in live time to ask questions either about the data, and it could also, they use a program called Slack, which is another messaging function that's divided into the different learning loops. So each learning loop has their own group message, and it can integrate, Quick Meeting can integrate Slack as well. And then in addition to the chat, they also have live polling. So these could be questions that the presenters have ready ahead of time. I just filled in getting information about what step of the cycle that each learning loop's on. So if they meet individually or as in the region within their own learning loop, they can respond to the polls, and then Click Meeting will store all of the data from the polls, so they can go back and look at them as well. And then while the live functions mean that it works better if everyone is online at the same time, Chile sometimes runs into internet problems, especially during the work hours of the day. And so if that does become an issue, you can record the meetings, and so they can send them to the different regions that might not have been able to participate in the meeting live, and they can watch it as well, so they don't lose out on getting the information that was shared.
So here we just have like a quick summary table of the price and package recommendations, and that's just for Francisco right there. So in terms of integrating the two technologies to address the gaps in the learning loops, the data visualizations from IBM Watson are going to be key features, hopefully, of these webinars. And they can also integrate a lot of the qualitative data that's sort of, Francisco told us, just sitting there right now, very valuable but difficult to display. So word clouds through IBM Watson are one way to do that. And essentially, we would be addressing both the analysis and reflection and diffusion learning loops, which would hopefully impact the whole process.
So looking ahead into implementation, we try to foresee possible challenges that could come up. And as you see here, one of them is that Francisco shared that he's a little bit nervous about trying to convince the rest of the Enseña Chile team that this is worthy investment of their time, effort, and resources. Even though he sees this as a critical need, he wants to get the other leadership team on board if they're going to make this financial investment and change in the system that's currently. So in order to address this, what we recommend is that they use a trial version of both the Click Meeting and IBM Watson in order to create samples and show other staff members the value and the potential of using these. A second challenge would be learning how to use IBM Watson, and in that ensuring that it's user-friendly and easily understandable, especially as seen during Cheryl's demonstration. You saw that you have to know what you're looking for, kind of, so you put all the data in, and then you type in what questions, and then it'll put out the trends and the outputs, but you have to know going into it what type of information you're trying to get out of it. So we recommend that they dedicate a specific Enseña Chile staff member in order to learn and really get to know the system and what they're looking for, and then create different models to be able to share that with others. And finally, the third potential challenge would be cost, especially given that for Click Meeting, it could potentially get expensive if Enseña Chile wanted each individual to be an attendee to the meeting. So in order to address that, we said if they were to get together and show it at regional meetings, so instead of having each person be an attendee at the Click Meeting, you have people come together, watch it on one screen, and then you have less cost and can maximize the attendance. Those are how we hope to address those three possible challenges.
Great. Perfect. Thank you.